but we're a work in progress, and myself, the rest of my teammates, and Chauncey, it's a partnership with them, and everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to, get this thing turned around, and I'm just trying to be a part of the solution to that, and get us going in the right direction, and that takes time. We knew it was going to be some growing pains with a new coaching staff, first-time head coach, and so many new guys, and we just working our way through it.
Stephen A., you had a lot to say about Dame's future yesterday. What's your reaction to what you just heard, that we're going to turn it around?
I'm not happy about it. As I stated on a few occasions, I spoke to Damian Lillard a few days ago. He has never lied. He has always been honest about what his position is. While we were talking on the phone, he made sure that he wanted everybody to know he didn't ask for any extension. He wanted everybody to know that he didn't ask for an extension, that he supports and is all in on Chauncey Billups, and that, again, would he love to play, for example, when the rumors about Ben Simmons or whatever, well, in his mind, who wouldn't want to play with Ben Simmons? But that doesn't mean that he wants anybody gone, like C.J. McCollum or anybody else. That's one of his best friends. So he just made sure to make those statements. And obviously his agent extraordinaire, Aaron Goodwin and the Goodwin brothers, because they know what the hell they're doing. They're obviously actively involved in all of this as well. But I say this again, I am not happy with what I'm hearing. Damian Lillard needs to leave Portland. Damian Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers ain't going anywhere. And that hurts me to say it. I got a lot of love for Chauncey Billups. I've known him for years. That's my brother right there. I'm rooting for him. Personally speaking, I don't like him being the coach. I wish that he was the president of basketball operations. That's just me. I look at him and I view him as an executive. Not to say he's not going to do a good job, that he can't coach. I'm not saying that at all. But when I see Scott Brooks on the bench, I think, I'd like to see Scott Brooks on the bench and Chauncey Billups running this organization. That's my personal opinion. In the end, you just don't have the personnel. Now, could they go out and could they get a couple of dudes? Could they get a Ben Simmons? Could they get some other players? And pair them?
What would it take to do something?
I think that it would take, you got to move. If you're not going to move Damian Lillard, you'd have to move CJ. You'd have to get Ben Simmons. You'd have to get another big to replace Nurkic, because I don't think Nurkic is the answer. And you'd have to change the face of that roster in order for Damian Lillard to stay. And I don't think you can do that and keep Damian Lillard. And as a result, I think Damian Lillard should leave. Damian Lillard disturbs me in this regard. He says, I'm all in, I'm here, and it's going to take time. Well, how much time does Damian Lillard think he has? He's 31, that's for sure. He ain't 38 or anything like that. So I understand that. But this league has spread throughout the league. And the guys that are older are Damian Lillard's age. With the exception of LeBron, most of all, Anthony Davis is 28. Giannis is 27. You look at Kevin Durant, he's around Damian Lillard's age. You look at Donovan Mitchell, he ain't going anywhere. Just Luka Doncic is younger. Everywhere you look, you see dudes with incredible potential that are Damian Lillard's age or younger. So how is staying in Portland going to help you? So when I listen and I hear the reports about, Portland's got a decision to make, you damn right they got a decision to make. You damn right. Because I'm not questioning what Damian Lillard is worth. What I'm saying is that ain't enough for this team to win. Damian Lillard needs to be in a better situation. This is one of the great, Damian Lillard's a future Hall of Famer, first ballot. Easy. Okay, easy. This brother is one of the most prolific shooters in the game, one of the most prolific players in the game, and arguably the greatest closer in the game. This brother's Mr. Big Shot. He's the modern day Mr. Big Shot. That's who he is. He has to be in a better situation. Whether it's Philly, I ain't going to say the Knicks, because even though that's his number one preference to be at Madison Square Garden, I'm disgusted with what I'm seeing with the Knicks right now. Julius Randle and R.J. Barrett had the entire offseason, still haven't worked on their right hand. They're going left, and they're going to use their left. Why should Damian Lillard want to play with that? You should be trying to.
He says he's not asking for a trade.
He's not.
Believe it.
And he's not. I totally believe him. He's not asking because he wants to be in, because he's loyal. I'm saying It's to a fault in
All
this
right.
situation because he ain't going to lose. He needs to end up in Boston with Jason Tatum or in Philly with Joel Embiid. I would love for him to be a New York Knick, but my God,
East Coast.
what I'm
All right.
seeing, why
We'll
the
leave
hell
it
would
there.
you do that? I'm
They're
very disgusted
11
with
and
that.
15th.
Extraordinary offensive player. I think it's time to start talking about him in comparison to LeBron James as revolutionary as it pertains to this generation. Okay. When we talk about the history of basketball, here's where I jump off the bandwagon with you, and I still stay with Michael Jordan. People were bringing Wilt Chamberlain, but like you said, 7'1" or whatever. There's a lot of dudes that's 6'4", 6'5", maybe not 6'6", but the vertical leap that Michael Jordan brought to the table, we knew was extraordinary, even though we saw that in the past from the David Thompsons of the world and a few others. But nevertheless, Jordan was one of a kind. Here's where I think you're cutting Jordan short in terms of his revolutionary impact on the court. From the days of the Boston Celtics winning the championship to Portland, for example, with Bill Walton, Lionel Hollins, Arik Lucas and those boys, when they overcame an 0-2 deficit against Philadelphia with Dr. J and those boys and won the championship. I remember Seattle, the Supersonics, with downtown Freddie Brown and Dennis Johnson, Jack Sikma, Marvin Webster, and all of those boys, all right? Gus Williams, let's not forget him. I remember all of that. And then, of course, here comes Bird. Here comes Magic. You're looking at the NBA, and the NBA was about team. Mm-hmm. What happened is Michael Jordan came along, and the marketing machine that was the NBA, combined with the sneaker companies and everybody else, started focusing on marketing the individual because Jordan was that kind of such a transcendent talent that they thought and felt, and accurately so, he as an individual, and I'm not talking off the court, even though obviously to some degree you're talking off the court in terms of impact, but I'm just saying, his abilities on the court made him a guy that you marketed to promote the brand. Kobe and LeBron and everybody, even Vince Carter and all of they followed. But it started with MJ as the individual. Now you could talk about Magic and Bird, but that was about the rivalry. It wasn't about their Herculean talents per se, even though both were great. It was about the fact that Bird was Boston and blue collar, cold near Connecticut, Molly, and all of that other stuff going on with Parrish, with Ainge and all of those boys, with Red Auerbach and the cigar and all of this other stuff. And God help them if they ever got their hands on Len Bias years later before Bird hurt his back and ultimately retired. Could you imagine what Len Bias would have done with the Boston Celtics? People, the youngsters out there, you don't know about Len Bias. Look him up. The brother was they thought he was going to be the next Jordan. Okay, that's how special he was. And he was bigger than Jordan, too. But he had a chiseled body, could shoot the whole nine. But I'm saying when you look at Jordan, and Magic obviously was Showtime with Worthy, Byron Scott, Kareem, all of these guys. But when you looked at Jordan, and Jordan came along, think about what we had in the league. I just gave you the Celtics and the Lakers personnel. I didn't mention Isaiah and the bad boy Pistons. I didn't mention Dr. J with Moses Malone and how they interrupted the proceedings by winning the title in '83. I didn't bring up any of those things. In the midst of all of that, the NBA said, the sneaker company said, corporate America said, yo, that dude right there, hell with all these teams. This dude right here is the dude that markets because he's such a transcendent figure on the basketball court with what he could do, by the way, on both ends of the floor. I mean, it was Air Jordan because he took flight, like John Sally said in The Last Dance, because you know he ain't human. You know he ain't human, right? You know, we had to get him before he took off because you know he ain't human. Michael Jordan was so special that from a revolutionary perspective, in terms of how the league utilized him, so we would ultimately pay attention to the individual heroics of the LeBrons and the Kobes and the Shaqs and everybody else in between. AI, let me not forget him. The list goes on and on. That individuality started with Jordan.
So I'm not comparing all those things about business and culture. Like
I'm talking the game. I'm talking this game.
I'm just saying strictly on the court. Let me ask you a question. Who's more relatable to you, Stephen A. Smith?
Steph Curry.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly my point. That's why it's more revolutionary to me, because you